What is the training like? Because it has to be sort of difficult to get water time. That has to be really precious. So you have to be really prepared for it. We talked a little bit earlier before we started recording about simulations and using simulators. So, what does the training program look like?
Training for a lot of it is just get out and race. And so get your own boat, get out and race. And then, we obviously, it's a sanctioned event. We have referees that tell you, how you're doing. Uh, there's course judges that tell you if you and friends on another boat and enforce the rules. But typically it's seat time in the boat. And so that's really how you learn. Yes, we still do have a simulator. It's called Hydrosim, and it's built on a game platform that's called R Factor that a lot of auto simulation games are built on, but it's exactly like the unlimited boats. And you can see like a version of the boat that I drove, and several of the boats that have been in for the last couple of years, and even some of the vintage boats. But it gives you the opportunity to feel like what a different course is like, and amazing that they even have all the exact buoys that are in the Seattle course versus Guntersville, Alabama course. So it's very, you feel like you're there. Like, I mean, I remember after going to Guntersville and then I jumped on the simulator, I was like, wow, they did a really good job. This is very realistic, even the speeds as well.
If I may follow up on that, we had simulators as well. We also had motion based simulators, right? That added that extra dimension. So I imagine there's a big difference between a static virtual reality kind of simulator and being on the water with the dynamics that you're living through. How do you adjust to that?
Yeah, I wish I was with you. And the motion sounds a lot better because that gives you a lot more of the
Uh-huh.
true sensation.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to a great driver and they'll tell you, you should feel everything. Like you're strapped in the boat and you should be uncomfortable, but you're strapped in. So you're one with the boat. And you should feel every bump. And you should, as you're going through, you just, you're kind of feeling everything out. And you become one with the boat. And some say you feel it in your butt because it's true, but that's how you sense like, how's the boat flying? Is it flying enough? And obviously, being in space, it's this this feeling of floating. Well, if you're driving the boat right, the boat should be floating on top of the water, cushioned by a packet of air. And if the boat's bouncing back and forth like this, every time it bounces, you're scrubbing off speed. And I don't think people know that. Like, if it's up out of the water and floating, that's when there's the least resistance. But that's also the time where just a gust of wind or anything that you aren't aware of or a wave, that's what can tip you over. So you're always kind of looking for, okay, is that a wind gust going across the water? You have a radio person in your ear telling you, hey, watch the wind on the front stretch. It's pretty windy. And, I saw you get light the last time, or you got 3 boats on your left, stay tight. A lot of instructions are happening while we're out there.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. So I know that I know what my favorite parts of being a fighter pilot were, and I know Sandra probably has her
Wow.
favorite parts of being an astronaut. But what is your, out on the water? What is the best thing about racing for you? What's your favorite aspect of the sport?
Yeah, there's quite a few, and there's inside the boat and outside the boat. So inside the boat, just that feeling of it's go time. Like, hey, we're ready to go. I've got my air mask on, so very similar to probably what you wear. I'm strapped in. We're waiting for the count, and then just kind of finding that moment of calm before we really get after it. And then after that, man, you don't remember a lot. You're just your head's on a swivel. You're really thinking about all of your next moves. And one of the interesting things about when we prepare for a race that a lot of people don't know as much about either is there's a race before the race. So really, once you get out in the boat, there's a 5 second clock, and you need to jockey for position and get yourself at the start line at zero at full speed. And so, and also it would be most advantageous to be in the inside lane because that's the shortest way around the course. So there's a lot of strategy, a lot of posturing, or trying to get someone to go faster than they need to. So then they're over their clock, and if they're over, then when they start creeping up to the start line, they have to stay above 80. And if they've gotten too far too fast, then they can't really step on the gas and hit the line at zero. And if you hit the line at zero at 160, 170, 180 miles an hour, that's when you've really nailed it.
I know from racing sailboats that when you get to a perfect start, because you work your tail off to do that. It's not
That's
just,
right.
magically you're there. It feels really, really good when you get there, except we're going a heck of a lot slower than you are at the starting.
Well, I think it's all relative. Even people have asked me like, what's it like? And I'm like, well, it's all relative because we're strapped in. We have an air mask on. We have a full enclosed capsule. 60 miles an hour in a pleasure boat's still fast. I mean, you got tears coming out of your eyes and the wind's in your face, but it's just a different experience for sure.